Today, I want to talk to you about setting goals as a type 2 diabetic. Why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, my name is John Collett, and in March 2018, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and within 6 months I managed to reverse my condition naturally, and I want to help you do the same. So let's get into it. How should we set goals as a type 2 diabetic? Well, I want to talk to you about something called action goals versus SMART goals. Okay, so what is a SMART goal? First of all, a SMART goal is a goal where you have a target that you want to hit, like a weight, okay, or a blood sugar level, and what you do is you break it down, okay, and come back and go, right, so if I want to be X amount of weight in 6 months time, then in 5 months time I want to be this weight, then I want my blood sugar to be here, in 4 months I need my weight to be here, and so on. So that's what a SMART goal is to be able to measure the actual figure. Now, an action goal is a goal to put certain habits and action in place on a day-to-day basis, which will allow you to get where you want to be. And I want to explain to you why I believe that action goals, when you're a type 2 diabetic, is far better than SMART goals, okay? And let me explain why. I'll give you an example why. The first month that I started doing exercise and eating healthy, I lost no weight, okay? Now, if I had set a goal, right, to be at a certain weight at the end of that month, I would have been very, very disheartened at that point because I didn't hit it. And to begin with, I was very disappointed that I hadn't lost any weight. But then I did a bit of research, and then I realized that that I put on muscle, and muscle was heavier than fat, and as a result I had changed. But what I had done was taken pictures of myself doing certain yoga poses, okay? And so when I looked at the photos, I compared those group of photos to those group of photos, I could see that my body had changed. My body had changed ever so slightly. And it made me realize when this happened that the weight really wasn't important. And in fact, it was a distraction that could get me down. And then the other thing was that the blood sugars didn't necessarily come down. And I've done another video about here, which is all about how long it takes for A1C to come down. And the reason and what I didn't realize was that it takes like 3 to 4 months for your sugars to start coming down properly when you're a type 2 diabetic, when you stop putting processed and sugary food into your body. So it takes that long before you do start seeing changes, but you start seeing bigger changes near the end. So like if I had gone to myself, yeah, I was over a 10 in my A1C, and like at the end of month 1, I wanted to be a 7 and I hadn't hit that target, it would have got me down. But so what I concentrated on was making sure that I did the right actions on a day in, day out basis. So I made sure I was working out at least 4 times a week, and that eventually went to 5 times a week. And I went from like 20 minutes to half an hour, and eventually managed to get up to 40 minutes, and we stayed at 40 minutes for quite a long time. and then eventually managed to get it up to doing an hour. And yet again, every day was just trying to eat the right foods on a day-to-day basis, which when the sugar addiction kicked in, that got really, really hard until that passed. But it weren't trying to go like focus on a week of eating. It literally was that day. And yes, that's exactly what drug addicts say. It's not about focusing on a week, it's about focusing on that day. Can you get through that day? Are you prepped that day for eating healthy? So if you're going to be going to work Have you got your food prepped so you're not tempted to go down the shop, right, or go to the supermarket and get the meal deal? Or, you know, when the van turns up outside of the work office, you don't want to go out and grab food because you've got it there. Where if you haven't got it, you know, most people would take the convenient route. Okay, so it's making sure you're prepared to deal with all of those things that are going to happen. Have you got some nuts so you can snack on if you need to, if you're feeling hungry? Have you got plenty of access to water that you need? If you haven't got access to water, are you taking it with you? So it's the actions, not the target. Because what happens is the result will come, okay? But it just doesn't always come down the way you want it. It would be lovely if averages just worked out average. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. It's a good example I've read is it's like rolling a dice. All right, okay, is when average is a bit like rolling a dice. You let's just say you want to get, you know, you should guess if you roll the dice 100 times, let's just say you should get 10 sixes, right? But those sixes don't come every 10. Do you know what I mean? They might come 2 in a row. You might roll 20 without it, you know. So it's important to understand it's the action that you take on a day-to-day basis which is far more important than the actual figures that you might be tempted to focus on, like your waist size and everything, or your weight or your blood sugars. Okay, so that is my tips for you on how to set goals as a type 2 diabetic. I'm going to put a playlist here on mindset. Remember, you're not a number, you're a rhino. Now charge.